Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today we're here to talk about the channel Cam&Fam. She, being the wife, Camryn, just released a video that I really want to react to and give some commentary on. I have not watched this before and I saved it for you guys. So if you're interested in why she quit family vlogging and shares the dark side of it, please keep watching. Alright you guys, so if you're not familiar with the YouTube channel Cam&Fam, they have 1.63 million subscribers, and originally it was a couple, Camryn and Landon. Sadly and tragically, Landon took his own life a couple of years ago. That's actually how I first heard of them, because Camryn shared the news and the video was blowing up on YouTube, so it was on my homepage. So I'm kind of familiar with her. I don't know a whole lot about her because I don't watch family vloggers, but I know who she is. So when this came on my radar, I knew already of her and this channel existing. So in their about section, it says, "Hey there, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to click subscribe to join the Camily. Shop our merch, follow me on all socials, and an email address." Now, Camryn is a really well-spoken young lady, and I like her personality despite the fact that she is a family vlogger. She doesn't put on this persona of being overly fake and obnoxious like a lot of other family vloggers do. I really like her. She was a teen mom, so if you're wondering why she looks so young, it's because she is young. She had her first child, I think, at the age of 16, I'm pretty sure. But if you go to their most popular videos on their channel, the first one is "My husband passed away," and that was the one that I saw. Next one, "Teen parents night routine," "Teen mom sleepover with Maddie Lambert," "Bringing my baby to school," "Teen mom draw my life." So there's obviously a lot of content based around kids, which is never something that I will be on board with. But everything else put aside, I do also have a lot of respect for people who can come to their platform and say, "I did this, it was wrong, I'm changing it, and this is why." And I think this is what this video is going to be about, because it does say the dark side of family vlogging. And we're going to see what she has to say.
I'm gonna let this cool down and then we'll do a little taste test in a second. It smells very good though. I'm excited. I guess I'll just start by talking about how I got into becoming a family vlogger and how I kind of got put in that box in the first place. In 2017, I was pregnant with my first daughter and I was obviously very scared. And I didn't know what to expect of like just being a teen mom. So I turned where every teen turns to, YouTube, and I saw lots of story times of how people got pregnant at a young age and how they told their parents, and there's just a lot of people like sitting down and talking about it. And it helped me a lot to just kind of mentally prepare for it all. So here I am, pregnant and bored. I'm doing online school. I just moved to a new place and I had no friends. And one day I just decided that I would make a YouTube channel. It's not the first YouTube channel that I made. I have like 2 or 3 out there from before I even got pregnant. One being from when I was like 9. And then I had a few videos on another channel from when I was like 15 of just me like being dumb. But I decided that I would start making videos about me being a pregnant teenager, mostly because I was bored, but also because I thought it might help other people in that situation too, as it helped me when I very first got.
I think this is a really normal reason why a lot of people start YouTube. It's because they're going through something in their life and it's either causing them stress, anxiety, confusion. So they come to YouTube, they see that they're not alone, and they automatically think, okay, well, if this person is sharing it, maybe I can share my experience, and then my video will be helpful to the next person who logs on to YouTube to look for this chapter that I'm going through in my life. The problem is that usually it can always start out very simple and innocent, but once those dollars start rolling in, that's where a lot of the family vloggers start to just become completely obsessed with putting out any content that's going to get clicks and views. And that's also where, whereas like initially maybe they're only showing their child for a small clip in every 10 vlogs, and then eventually it moves into they're in every single vlog. The kids are getting sent stuff sent to them so that they can review it. Then that bleeds over to having the child have their own YouTube channel. So it can just snowball and get out of control. And it sort of seems like, based on what I've seen, once you're in it, it's hard to pull yourself out of that because of the money that is rolling in, you know?
Got pregnant. So I started when I was like about halfway done with my pregnancy. And at that point, me and Landon were doing long distance. He wasn't in the picture. We were still together, but he wasn't in the videos. And obviously Colette wasn't born yet, so it was just me and my camera. But my channel was still very much centered around pregnancy and motherhood, and little to do with me and who I actually am as a person. And honestly, becoming pregnant in the first place before even starting YouTube, it took over a lot of just my personality. It just kind of became who I was like this pregnant girl, and I didn't really feel like I had much of a self-identity outside of that. So I post a few videos, they get like maybe 100 views, along with a lot of hate comments from people that I went to high school with. And then Colette was born, and she ended up being in the NICU for a while, and while I was in the NICU, that's actually when my first video blew up. No one even knew that I had my daughter yet. I had her early. But yeah, right after she was born, a video titled Day in the Life of a Pregnant Teen just started to get views. And I remember hitting like 1,000 subscribers and being like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Like, I can't even believe this. I did not think this would happen. And it just kept growing and it didn't stop. A few weeks after she was born, we got settled in back home, and I posted a video just introducing her. And that's definitely when I started to take things more seriously. Not in an aspect of like trying to make money off of it. I mean, I knew that that potentially could happen, but just knowing that there's people watching, I tried to put more effort into it, up the quality a bit. I got a camera, I got a laptop, because before I was just doing it on my phone. So I did that for a while, and I was really into it. I felt very inspired. I loved making videos. I was just having the best time, and I loved like engaging with everybody in the comments. There was a lot of hate, which at first I was like really upset by. And then once Landon moved in with my mom, Colette was about 3 months old, the dynamic of the channel just kind of naturally changed. It was no longer just my channel about me and my baby. There was 3 of us now, and it definitely started to become more of what people deem to be a family channel. And even though Colette was a very tiny baby at that point, the content...
I don't think a lot of people recognize the amount of negativity and hateful comments that you can receive when you're going into YouTube. I guess, you know, for me, I'll just share my own experience with it. You kind of go into it and think, well, sure, there's going to be people that don't like me and they'll leave negative comments. But the amount of negative comments that you receive is sometimes just crazy. And I've said before, I would not be able to do what I'm doing right now at the age of 15, 16, 17, even up to like my early 20s. There has to be a level of maturity there to be able to let the negative comments just not affect you. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, thinking back to when I was 16 or 17, if someone called me ugly, that would affect me. You know, it might not have been for the entire day, but imagine that times 50 comments along the same lines. It's a lot to try to process, and also keep the journey going, keep the content coming.
Content started to slowly shift from just me talking about motherhood more to me showing Colette and talking about her and her growth and just going out and doing things as a family with her, and also about me and Landon and our relationship. Soon after, we did start making money off of YouTube, and we moved out into our own place, and that definitely upped the pressure of like, this isn't just for fun anymore. You know, this is my job, and I need to post these videos in order to pay rent. Because before, I didn't have rent, I didn't have bills. I was living under my parents' roof still. The only thing I had to worry about was buying diapers and formula, which Landon had a job before coming, so we had some money.
That's exactly what I'm talking about when I say once YouTube becomes your source of income, there's a little bit of a scary feeling to think, hey, what if my channel doesn't perform and I can't pay rent, or I can't buy groceries for my kids who, you know, obviously are depending on me to eat. Hello. And don't get me wrong, this can also happen with, you know, YouTubers who don't have kids. But when you're talking about one person being the main source of income for an entire household, and that income is YouTube or social media, They have to do whatever it takes to make sure that last month's check is as good as this month's check. And if that means doing clickbaity videos and showing their kid more than they really want to, you know, their livelihood is depending on it.
Saved. That's the point where the negative comments kind of started to shift from just blatant, like, ignorant negativity towards a teen mother just because she's a teen mother, and more to people like getting really invested in like picking apart my life and my mistakes. And I feel like there's a huge difference between the two, between someone just making an ignorant hate comment, like, oh, I bet your parents pay for that child, because I know that they don't, so it's like, okay, whatever, you're wrong, versus people making an informed hate comment about my life, picking apart the dynamic between me and Landon, picking apart the way I talk about motherhood, and just trying to frame me as a bad mom and a bad person, and really just attacking my character. And at the time, I was still really new to it, and I just really started to internalize it, and it started to change the way that I made content. Before, I was just showing our lives and who we are, and just...
And this is the thing that I think about, is you're so informed on how bad people can be with these hate comments. Why would any family vlogger put their child or their children in that line of fire? Because you know, if they're saying it about you, they're gonna say something about your kid. And some of these people start to get so frustrated, especially if they're ignored and they're not getting the attention that they want, then you don't know what people will do. And you're showing your house, and they know what your kids look like, they know what kind of car you drive. It can all just become so dangerous. So yeah, most adults are aware once they start seeing the hate comments that they're going to keep on rolling in. But why would you want your child to be in that line of fire? I don't understand it.
It was more genuine. And then over time, I started to really think about, what are people gonna think about this? What are people gonna say about this? And there's certain things when filming where it's like, oh, can't put that in the video. Stupid little things that people have no good reason to pick apart, but they will. And I just wanted so desperately to prove everyone wrong, to prove that I was a good mom, to prove that I was a good spouse. So I worked hard to portray this image for the sole purpose of being liked. And when I look back, I'm like, I was a 17-year-old mom with a lot of pressure put on me to provide, to post on time, to share so much with the world, to figure out this new dynamic of we're both parents. How do we parent together? How do we live together? It was my first time living on my own. And there was just so much on my plate at once, especially for a 17-year-old. And I'm like, of course I wasn't perfect. If you put any 17-year-old in that position, they will not handle it perfectly. They're gonna make mistakes. And deep down, like, I knew that. I knew I wasn't perfect. I knew I wasn't a perfect parent, but I felt like as long as I was perceived that way, as long as I was projecting an image of perfection, that was good enough for me to feel all right, enough to get that external validation of people telling me I'm doing a good job. So to have more of that and less of the hate comments, at the time I was okay to sacrifice my authenticity for that. But the more I perpetuated this image of...
I think so many influencers are seeking this validation from the internet. You're seeking validation from people that you most likely will never meet in life, you know, in your real life. But you want to make them think that everything is so perfect. And I think of more of like the cleaning and organizing videos, not like true family vloggers, but I think of someone like Brianna Kay, where she puts out this image that everything is perfect. She decorates for every single little holiday, and you know, her kids are always dressed so cute, and they have you know, matching family photos, and everything is just perfect. Keeping up with that image of perfection, and you know, we have the white picket fence lifestyle, is going to burn someone out very quickly. And I don't know why people are so afraid of just being themselves, because usually your audience is going to see through the fake BS at the end of the day. You know, they might stick around for a little while, but I don't know. I think most people that have a really good head on their shoulders, they're looking for YouTubers who aren't perfect, and they're not, you know, putting out the decorations for every single holiday because they realize that A, it's expensive, and B, it's just a bunch of junk that doesn't matter anyway. And I realize that you want to put your best foot forward when you're, you know, introducing yourself to people on your channel, but there's it seems like a lot of influencers and family vloggers are just, they go so above and beyond to put out this fake persona that it's cringeworthy to witness. It's not even enjoyable. It's, people can just see right through it, and they usually tune out, you know, unless you're attracting people who are like-minded, but that only lasts for so long.
We're a happy, functioning family. We're the teen parents who are doing it right. The further I projected that, when that just simply wasn't the truth, I didn't know what I was doing, the more people started to kind of point it out. Something feels off. You don't really feel as genuine anymore. And it was a slow, progressive thing, and people started to point it out more and more as time went on. But it was hard because other people were like praising this version of myself that I was portraying. A lot of people didn't notice, and they just thought that that was me, and that was genuine. So while I'm out here filming this happy family content, behind the scenes, things are just getting worse and worse. My mental health is in a horrible place. I've lost who I really am in trying to be perfect. Landon's mental health isn't doing great either. I was a lot better at hiding it and picking up the camera even when we were upset, even when we were fighting. And looking back, I don't regret much in life, and I try not to dwell on it because I've forgiven my past self for the way that I was. Everything I was doing was in this deep-rooted insecurity of just wanting to be loved and accepted. And I think the more my life went downhill, the more I threw myself into YouTube. It was how I was coping. It's almost as if I wanted to live in that fantasy of we're just this normal, happy, perfect family. And I posted 3 videos a week. So that's 3 days out of the week, going out, filming, picking every little detail of the video apart, trying to make everything perfect, staging everything perfectly, moving all my stuff under my bed so it was out of the shot. I just felt like I was always running around, like perfecting every detail. And then I spent every other day after filming replaying the same day over again, editing it, making sure it's as perfect as it can be, it's all polished and nice, picking the perfect thumbnail, picking the perfect title, and posting it, and then spending hours reading the comments, seeking approval, and almost even seeking negativity. Like if there was a negative comment, I had to see it. One day I found this gossip website where the whole thing is just talking about YouTube moms. Turns out there's like a whole community on the internet for that. And it was absolutely brutal.
And evidently, Dad Challenge Podcast is the ringleader of these nasty women who literally tear down and degrade moms online. And, you know, I obviously saw through it, and that's why I had to vocalize that I was distancing myself, because there's one thing, and I said this for the longest time, but you can give commentary on something that you disagree with, but when you're talking about these hate groups and these little crews of people who literally get off on saying the most vile, heinous shit, it's just a ton of projection and super disgusting. Even if I completely disagree with everything that someone is doing online, there is a way to form that opinion and vocalize it. And there's also the, you know, I'm going to sit on my channel and just bash these people for the way that they look or the way that they speak. And that doesn't even cover the fact that, you know, these people are okay with dying.
And it hurt the most when they were kind of right, when they were kind of spot on. These people were really good at like reading between the lines. Most of the people saw what I posted and were just like, oh, good video, very happy, fun, I love it. And other people kind of started to see where I cut specific clips, where it seems like I cut certain things out, and really.
That's the thing that I'm talking about. A lot of your audience will pick up on these shifts in the way that you're speaking or what you're including or not including in the vlog. Those people who can pick out changes when there's actually changes taking place, those are the people I want to listen to. Those are the ones that I want to actually review their comments and their feedback, because you picked up on something that I did not vocalize, and that says a lot. That means that you're watching a lot of my content, and it's something that I should reflect on. Whether or not I make it public and tell you guys, hey, I'm reflecting on this, but those are people I really pay attention to. By the way, not saying I don't pay attention to other people as well, but You guys know what I mean. Just people who have insight are very intriguing to me, so I want to hear what they have to say for sure.
Just pick me apart. I've never read anything more horrible, honestly. And I was like addicted to reading this. So that cycle of running around, trying to make everything perfect, spending the next day reliving my previous day, editing it, posting it, seeking approval, seeing the hate, checking this gossip site a million times a day, I drove myself freaking crazy. It was so unhealthy for me to be on that schedule, on that cycle, and so invested in all the negativity going around. And at that point, I had met other moms through YouTube, and it was a very similar type of thing. I don't think all of them were as invested.
When you're on YouTube, it is a complete waste of time to look at these hate groups and hate forums, or even other YouTube channels that just hate your existence. It will not do anything for you. Now, I'm not talking about normal commentary channels because they might have something that you want to reflect on, like I said. And it might be one of those insightful subscribers who just happens to have a YouTube channel and they share their opinions, and those might be ones that you want to reflect on. But as far as engaging and absorbing opinions of people who cannot stand you, it will not do anything for you. And I know that that's easier said than done. Once you look at it in that light, at least it was like this for me, once I look at it from the stance of these are people who are just going to hate me no matter what. And I haven't done, I mean, let's be honest, I've made a couple of mistakes, I've addressed those, and I've moved on. But am I over here, you know, ruining my family or killing my dog or abusing people or being an outright asshole? No, I'm not.
In the comments as I was, something that a lot of YouTubers get as they kind of progress in their YouTube channel is like, oh, it only seems like you care about the money. Oh, you only care about the views. It was never about any of that for me. It was about the approval. But for some of the other YouTubers I knew, it was for the views, it was for the money. And it's so hard making friends with people who are also online because a lot of those friendships, while they did seem genuine at the time, there was also this underlying like competitiveness. And I never really feel like it stemmed from any of us directly.
One thing I will say is she says that it wasn't about the money, and maybe it wasn't all for the money in her case. I can't really say because I'm not her. But when you're talking about the ability to make tens of thousands of dollars every single month, and you continue to make the content to, you know, make those big AdSense checks, I think that it does come down to the money. Again, maybe not all of it, but I mean, let's be honest, the income does weigh heavily, because if it didn't, then you would be okay with changing your changing your content or not giving your audience what they came for last month. You know what I mean?
I just feel like it was there because it was this huge aspect of all of our lives that we had in common. And after being on YouTube for years and only really having friends through YouTube, it was kind of all I knew. And a lot of those friendships ended very dramatically, some of them very publicly, and it was really hard to go through that while a ton of people were watching. The tea's really good, by the way. Finally took a sip. But yeah, I don't think I could have been in a worse spot mentally. Those friendship dynamics and just the dynamic of my household had just become so toxic, so bad for all of us. And the further that image of perfection that I let everybody see, the further that got.
Having friends on YouTube is something that I've talked about a lot. You know, I have made friends on YouTube, but I don't publicly advertise them because it seems like once you align yourself with another YouTuber and then you disagree with what they're doing and you vocalize it, then you're trying to drama bait someone and you're just being a drama queen. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I've just kind of come to the conclusion that I am okay with being cordial with other YouTubers, but I don't need any of them in my corner. I don't need any of them to, you know, promote my channel. I don't need any of that, and I never expect any of that, because the closer you are to other YouTubers, the more, you know, craziness happens when you say that you no longer talk to this person or you don't like what they're doing.
From my reality and the worse my actual reality got, as that gap grew further and further, I just felt horrible. Just like such a horrible person. I felt like everything that I had to show for was just fake. At that point, the validation didn't even like feel good anymore. All the good comments of people telling me that I'm doing a good job as a mom. I'm like, this isn't even real. Because on days that we would film, we'd eat healthy food. We would take Colette to the park. To be fair, we filmed 3 days a week, so about half of the time we were actually living that lifestyle. But when we weren't vlogging, we were eating junk food and staying in bed all day. And I do want to say that there was some genuine moments. I don't want to say that my whole channel was fake. Everything we did wasn't real. A lot of the time we were showing the best of us, and some of the time we were just pretending to be the best versions of ourselves. But there was still real love there and real joy, but we were just like scripting out these moments, scripting out this super fun day as a family that at the time probably wouldn't have happened if we weren't gonna film it. At the time, I was definitely in denial about a lot. Deep down, I think I knew the weight of it and just how wrong it was, just perpetuating this false idea of not only parenthood but teen parenthood, only showing the best parts and essentially glamorizing it.
This is why I always say to you guys, I know that a lot of my subscribers have children. You're either stay-at-home moms or working dads or stay-at-home dads or guardians or grandparents or whatever it is that you are. The reason that I always say, whenever it makes sense, I try to drop it in there. Do not compare what you're doing for your kids to what an influencer is doing for their kids, because I've always questioned the legitimacy of, are they really doing this or is it just for the vlog? A lot of times it seems it's just for show, it's just for a cute Instagram picture. Social media is fake, a lot of YouTube is fake, and when you start comparing what you're doing to what they're doing, it can wreck you financially, because most of us don't have the bank accounts that family vloggers have. Secondly, it can damage your mental health. Third of all, it can damage the relationship that you have with your children and or your significant other, if there is a significant other in the picture. So that's why I say all of these like $300 Target hauls and this kind of stuff that is shown every single day on some of these channels. If you say, well, I want to go to a $300 Target haul because Brianna K did one, and that's not in your budget, then you're going to feel like you are not up to par. You're not, for some reason, you know, oh, if my kid doesn't have that new lunchbox that all the vloggers are showing, then maybe they're not happy. Look, this is why I always say, if your kids are safe, clothed, and have undivided attention with you or from you when they need it, you're doing just fine. Don't ever, ever, ever compare yourself to any of what these vloggers are showing.
Making it look way better than it was. Showing these young teens, yeah, it's not too bad being a teen parent. It was. It really was. It was so much harder than I let on, but I was in so much denial and I was so defensive. When people criticized me, I took it so personally and refused to take anything from what they were saying. There came a point where I realized these things, probably right around the time I got pregnant with Delilah, and I tried to make a change and change my content and be more authentic, try to kind of revert back to how it was when I first started, but I just couldn't break out of what I had already created for myself. I felt trapped in this box of, this is how everyone thinks I am, so this is how I have to be. And also,
well, and if she would have gone back and changed the way that she was speaking or what the kind of content she was making, then they would have lost out on money. And when you lose out on money as a family vlogger, that means that your bills are at jeopardy. So it's a trap. That's why I've always said I would rather just see someone being their authentic selves, and I want to see that carry through their YouTube journey. Obviously not everyone does that, but just be yourself, unless your true self is racist, homophobic, or just an overall jerk off, then don't do that. But just be yourself. There's no reason to put on this show or this personality. You will find your community if you just stay true to who you are.
So I just didn't have a self-identity anymore. Outside of acting happy on camera and being miserable reading comments, I had no idea who I was anymore. So how can I show my authentic self when I've just completely lost that? And it took losing Landon for me to finally snap out of it. And it's really messed up that that's what it took. And as I grew out of that, I also grew out of some friendships with people who were still just kind of in that. Maybe not to the same extent that I was in it. I'm very grateful to have had such a wake-up call. I don't even want to get into the psychology of how that would have affected my daughters had I not made a change. Because at this point, my channel is about me and I am my truest self on here. It's taken time to get to that, but I finally feel like I'm there. And the kids are not at the center of my channel at all anymore. It's no longer about showing their lives or even our life as a family. It's about showing my life. I definitely want to keep the girls away from social media as they grow up, especially being what my presence and their presence already is on the internet. I'm not sure what it will be by the time they're older, but as a parent, that's something that I do not want for them to even feel a fraction of that pressure that I felt to portray themselves a certain way on the internet.
See, and what I was saying earlier, why would you put your kids in the line of fire? This is someone who did that, but she fully recognized the impact that their digital footprint will have, the mental health toll that social media can take on kids. And it is so good of her to be able to come to her platform and say, look, I screwed up, but I'm also fixing my screw up, and this is how I'm fixing it. And good for her. I'm so happy to see this video, and other family vloggers need to take note, because let's be honest, if she's saying that it's all a facade and it's all fake and damages mental health, you know that there are a lot of others who feel the same way. They just haven't come to the realization that, oh man, if we take the kids off, then we're going to lose some of our fame and fortune. But at the end of the day, that also tells me that the almighty dollar is more important than the privacy of your kids.
It's going to be a very, very, very long time before I allow them access to any social media. I don't want to sit here and say that my experience with family vlogging is a universal experience and that every other family channel is actually super fake. But I gotta say that just that dynamic of having social media be your job, having your kids so involved in that, having your marriage, your relationship so involved in that, and just having your whole life intertwined with the way that you make money, the way you feed your kids, along with having the whole internet critique the way that you live your life, it is just not good for anyone. It's simply not healthy for your mental state. It's really difficult. And everyone says, oh, well, you do it to yourself. But if I can go back, I don't know that I would have chosen the same path. I don't know if I would have made my YouTube channel. Now that I'm finally at a place where I figured out how to do it in a healthy way and to kind of separate myself from the opinions of people on the internet, I've come to a point where I can handle it. But especially someone who has always had mental health problems, I can't think of a worse scenario for me to end up in. As hard as it is, it feels good to own up to it and to say it out loud. And it's hard not to look back on that time with a sense of just shame, because it didn't need to be that way. I had to learn that lesson for myself, but looking back, I know that it did not have to be that way. And it makes it hard now to look back on my old videos, because what everyone else sees is just us being happy, and it's great to see Landon alive and smiling, but all I see is the behind the scenes, everything that wasn't showed on camera, everything it took to get that shot, the fight that we had that morning, you know? It just sucks, it really does. But for my daughter's sake, part of me is glad that we only showed the best parts, because now that's what they get to see of their father. Because what's the alternative? Showing us fighting, showing the bad parts? I don't know. It's a very complicated issue, and I don't have the answers. All I know is that at this point, after having gone through all that, I feel like I have no choice but to be as genuine and authentic as possible. And that means posting less, but also only filming when I actually want to film, and being passionate about it again and putting my heart and soul into it again, and not looking into every single comment and taking it personally. It's sad to look back on all that, but I have come a really long way, and I'm really happy that I finally figured it out for myself, and I can exist on the internet in a way that's healthy for me and the girls. This video is going to be a hard one to post, because I feel like I'm kind of shattering this illusion that a lot of you have had for years of us being this perfect happy family. That was a heavy one. I don't know that all my tea times are going to be this heavy. I hope not. Thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding and hearing me out. That's all for today. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.
So that's the end of her video. I will say that I think of her situation, and I think of other family vloggers and mommy vloggers and stuff. If your personality resonates with your subscribers, it should not matter if your kids are on your channel or if they're off your channel, because you're the one that they're coming to listen to. I've always said if someone is actually willing to unsubscribe from your channel because you're choosing your children's privacy over blasting them all over your channel, then that's probably a subscriber that you don't want around anyway. And it says a lot more about your integrity as a person and as a parent to say, I'm a YouTuber, but my kids aren't YouTubers. And until they're old enough to make an educated decision on whether or not they want to be involved in a video, they will not be in a video and they will not be on social media. You know, aside from maybe the once in a while a birthday or holiday photo, that's one thing. But it was really interesting to hear it from her, and it confirmed a lot of the things that I already assumed. But anyone who puts their child's privacy as a priority instead of the almighty dollar fully has my respect. So I am, you know, and I'm not trying to sit up here and say, you get my respect and you don't. But just looking from an outsider point of view, this is someone who has a lot of self-awareness, and she was, she had enough integrity to come to her platform and say, look, that was a facade and I'm not here for it, and this is what I am here for, and this is who I am, you know? So good on her for this. I would not be surprised if Dad Challenge Podcast tries to do an interview with her. He's, you know, sort of like the leech of anti-family vloggers, so who knows, but good on her. I wish her nothing but the best in the future, and I hope that her, you know, mental health journey is taking a better turn at this point. It's just a lot to deal with. So either way, that's going to be it for now. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.